All right, y'all, back again. And look, I got one more classroom video to do. Woo! But this will probably be the last one. I won't be in the classroom tomorrow. Uh, I'm officially done with finals, so you know another teacher will be using this classroom. So I definitely won't be here doing any more. So this will definitely be the last classroom video. Having said that, this is gonna be a good one. Or at least I hope. So check this out. As I always tend to do, I get on Twitter to kind of like scroll and see what's hot, especially the next morning because I don't stay up to watch these playoff games. Um, Not even my Mavs, and I get into that for another video, but I'm not gonna do that here. But I always check the scores and the box scores and stuff because I'm interested in seeing, what major developments happen. And so, um, the Knicks won last night. Now, I had the Knicks to win this series in 6 games. If it went to 7, I wouldn't be surprised. But I just figured, all things considered, I think the defense of the Knicks was better than the offense of the Hawks. And I figured that would be the difference. Now, funny thing to me is Cam Reddish ain't playing. I had to go do some research because I was wondering why he wasn't playing. I guess he still suffered from an Achilles injury. And because of that, he's basically going to miss the postseason. Let's just assume for a minute that I'm wrong on my prediction and the Hawks advance and they move on. Now you got to wonder, like, damn, do we need Cam Reddish? DeAndre Hunter, hoping. You still got Clint Capella, Bogdanovich, Kevin Herter, Lou Williams. You still got shooting, right? And would only be Cam's second year. So you got to be thinking, or you ain't got to be thinking, but my mind goes like this. Okay, he's available this offseason. Should be. He should definitely be available. Given the right price. Excuse me. He should definitely be available given the right price. So I can see him being open on the free agent market or a trade market. Let me not say free agent market. Now, if you're trying to build a team, what I would do is I would be looking toward my picks, especially if I'm one of those teams that had like a higher pick. Not necessarily the number 5 pick with the number or higher. Probably somewhere between 7 and 11. I'd have to be thinking, okay, if I would see if I could leverage that pick for Atlanta. Like, okay, we'll give you that pick for Cam Reddish. A team that comes to mind is New Orleans Pelicans because you need the defense, you need the shooting. He's already got rapport with Zion, who you're building around as the point. And he gives you another wing that can do multiple things. And if it costs you a first-round pick when you already got Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kyra Lewis, I think that's probably the way you go. And even if you were to manage to re-sign Zoe, you got somebody else on that wing who could soak up some of those minutes instead of Eric Bledsoe. And if you were to lose Lonzo, he's like a backup. He's he's like your failsafe. I don't see how you don't, if you're the Pelicans, try to make that move. Having said that, this ain't a video to talk about what the Pelicans could do or should do. The point is, Cam Reddish is someone I'm still high on. At worst, he's a 3-and-D scorer. There's not too many of those in the league. I didn't say shooter or just a 3-and-D guy. He's a 3-and-D scorer. He can score. Okay. Do I think he'll be 24 points per game? Nothing like that, no. But a guy that could probably go out there and guard multiple positions and can hit at all 3 levels and get you like 18, 19 a game. Not too many of them growing trees. That's a championship level player. And so if I was a team, I would be looking like one of those teams I mentioned, I would definitely be looking to try to give up some assets to get him if he should become available. Now, to the other part of this video. As most of you guys know, I tend to do Lonzo content, specifically Lonzo content, and this is no different. So check this out. This Knicks series is very revealing. Okay? Now, I know I mentioned I was looking at the Hawks, but I'm also looking at the Knicks. And one of the things I'm noticing is Tibbs ain't playing Elfrid Payton or Frank Ntilikina. Okay? Or for that matter, he's not really playing Emmanuel Quigley that much. The bulk of those minutes are going to Derrick Rose. So, what does that tell me? You don't have a point guard you trust out there. You guys already know where this is going. So, if I'm the Knicks, and this is the other good thing the playoffs are for, they definitely point out your weaknesses and where you need to get better at. Hell, look at what Milwaukee did. They got Drew Holiday, and they bust Miami's ass to new hells and back, the other day. They beat them by like 30, almost 40, 50 points. If you need competent point guard play, that like I've mentioned to you guys before, there's probably going to be several on the market between Spencer, Dennis Schroeder, Zoe, and a couple other guys that I'm not going to get into. Okay? So, part of the Knicks' issues right now is they're not getting the quality of shots that they need. Their offense looks pretty bad. And their point guard play is limited from that position other than Derrick Rose. And with Derrick Rose's injury history, I'm not saying he's going to get hurt, but there's a possibility of that. You might want to go take a look at Lonzo Ball this offseason. Now, he'll fit on that team. He'll get them moving. He'll play defense. He can knock down threes. And he can facilitate and control the floor of the game. I'm not saying he's CP3. I'm not saying he's Luka Doncic. I'm not saying he's Trae Young. What I am saying is, for your scheme, he is perfect. And it was a post on Twitter that came out that said the Knicks have like 50-something million in free cap space. And there's the possibility, you know what, let me go ahead and talk about that too before I finish with this. So, I was the only person this year that I could think of who brought up the fact that Kawhi Leonard has a player option and he could opt out and become a free agent this summer. It is just now starting to hit the media. Stephen A. Smith commented that he might go to Miami. Okay. The Knicks are looking good. He might decide to go to the Knicks. If he goes to the Knicks, they got the money to get both Kawhi and Zoe. All I'm saying, I'm not saying this is going to happen. And calm your horses. I don't want y'all getting too excited. Jay Stroh said he might go to the Knicks with Kawhi Leonard. I also mentioned earlier this year that the Knicks were going to get a superstar because it was reported by Brian Windhorst that someone is considering. I thought it was Devin Booker. I also low-key mentioned Kawhi could do it. All this stuff I said months ago is starting to line up right now. Okay? I'm just saying. Lonzo Ball, Reggie Bullock, Kawhi Leonard, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel / and their center, Mitchell Robinson. I'm Tom Thibodeau. I'm just saying. That squad was already top in defense. Hear me out. That squad was already top in defense. And you got into the playoffs as like a 4th, 5th seed with Julius Randle. Kawhi Leonard wanted a point guard in Cleveland. I mean, not Cleveland, the Clippers. They got Rondo, but they're not even using Rondo. Rondo had like 19 minutes the other night. Pat Bev is getting 23. Like, what the hell? What was the point? So, if Kawhi decides he wants to haul ass and go to New York, and they decide to get Lonzo Ball, you just got yourself a really solid team. And I think the only problem I see is shooting. Because you're asking Reggie, Lonzo, and Kawhi essentially. And I mean, Julius can knock it down, but you're asking all four of them to basically try to compete with a team like the Hawks, who got like literally all the best shooters in the league. So shooting may be bad, but on the other hand, you're gonna have playmaking. You got a closer. You got a closer in Kawhi. You don't have to worry about closing the games. So you got a very good second option in Julius Randle. And you got Lonzo, who is going to make sure that all those guys get their touches. And Zoe already got rapport with Jew. And he's already said that's his guy. All right? And they were talking about how, I forgot where I saw this, if they were saying something along the lines of, when Luke was in LA, Lonzo would stick up for, his teammates. Probably was Julius Randle. On Ball in the Family, he said he was hurt, that, he ain't going to have Julius on the team no more. So, all I'm saying is, connections. That matters in the league. And it's no doubt, it's no question that Kawhi was kind of wanting to get Lonzo Ball on that squad. I'm not sure if they've hung out or if talked or, anything like that, but if they get Kawhi and you got Julius, New York is definitely in play for Zoe. Definitely in play. And they're a number 5 seed without Kawhi, without Zoe. I can only imagine what they're going to look like with them. Now, to be fair, I would not pick them to come out of the East because Philly is still looking really dangerous. Giannis and the Bucks are still a threat. And, of course, that three-headed monster down the street in Brooklyn. Outside of that, 4 seed, you get a first round matchup against somebody else, yeah, they're going to win that. They're going to win their first round matchup just off the strength of Kawhi. After that, there's a whole nother issue. But we expect Lonzo to ascend next year. And so we don't know what that could look like. All of a sudden, if he does ascend next year, he becomes that guy. And what I mean by that is like the 17, 18 points a game, 8, 9 assists, 6, 7 rebounds, very good defender guy. I might have to take them top 3 on just off GP. And we've already seen what Kawhi can do to Giannis. So in a series, I think I favor them over the Bucks, even with Drew and Chris Middleton. But they ain't beating Brooklyn. Let me say this again. They will not beat Brooklyn. It will go 6, 7 games because they're going to play them tight. But they ain't beating Brooklyn by any means. All right? So if you're going to do this, the whole point of this is like a 2-year window where you're not going to beat Brooklyn, but after that, that's when you break through. And then by the end, Philly might opt to get rid of Joel or Ben Simmons, so, we'll have to see where that goes. But I'm just saying. But back to the main point here. If you're looking for stability at the point guard position, look, if you're the Knicks, you're probably not getting a top 10 pick anyway. Okay? And you're already in the playoffs. If you happen to get Lonzo, he's only going to upgrade your team. So you're already in the playoffs, you're only going to be a more solid playoff team. If you get him and you get a superstar like Kawhi, all hell breaks loose. All of a sudden, you went from who gives a fuck about the Knicks to, oh shit, it's the Knicks. Now, Chicago is still the other organization that has deep interest in Lonzo Ball, and they still have pieces already in Vooch and Levine and Kobe White and Patrick Williams or Patrick Willis, whatever. I don't know what his last name. He went Big Pat. So they're going to be better. And keep in mind, Vooch got to come on this team, and he didn't get any training camp, any practice. He just got put in and had to play. Zach LaVine missed some games because of protocols, okay? They're with Billy Donovan, who is going to get them for a full training camp and get them acclimated. Now, I don't expect them to be good defensively because Zach don't play defense. Vooch don't play defense. Even if you get Lonzo and you have Patrick Williams out there and whoever for filler, they're not going to be a good defensive team. But offensively, they should be blowing the brakes off of teams. And so the question is, which is the better fit for Zoe here? I'm not going to get into that. This is not what this video is for. I could make another video about that, but that's for right now. We're not going to get into that. That's not the purpose of this video. The point is, there's a lot of things that's going to be coming in play this offseason. These playoffs, like, teams already know what they need that didn't make the playoffs for the most part. But they're also going to be looking at the playoffs to see how far they need to get. If you go look at some of these playoff teams and go look at what the Pelicans were this year, you can see why they didn't make the playoffs. You can see the difference level between, the Pelicans versus those teams. So that's where you have to get to. But the playoff teams, especially the teams that advance to these next rounds, but even still, if you're in a first round matchup and you go 6 or 7 games against a team that goes to the next round, you're going to get several looks at what you're missing. And then you know what to go after. Be on the lookout for any team that is getting destroyed by perimeter play and don't have a competent guard. Spencer Dinwiddie, Dennis Schroeder, and Lonzo Ball. Now, the Lakers already got Dennis Schroeder, and they got issues because he didn't sign that contract. He could be out anyway. So they could be in the looking for a point guard. Spencer Dinwiddie becomes available. Kyle Lowry is also out there too. That's 4 big ones that I just gave you. And it depends on fit. It depends on what you're looking for, what you need. And there could be a possibility that Indiana may want to part with Malcolm Brogdon. That's a 5th guard. Okay? There could be a lot of changing parts. Be on the lookout. Watch these teams carefully. If you don't just watch for Lonzo, you got to know what his skill set is. But look at what Dennis Schroeder's skill set is. Look at what Spencer Dinwiddie's skill set is. And a lot of these other guys. And then start thinking, okay, where can I place things? Now, the one thing we can't predict is a disgruntled superstar, star-level player requesting a trade. Like, let's just say hypothetically, a Bradley Beal decides he wants out. Okay? Would they keep Russell Westbrook? Would they, that kind of thing, we don't know. Okay? Other guards I listed, Lonzo is the youngest. Okay? And he'll probably be the cheapest. He's probably the best you could go for. And so I expect to see some teams throw some money at him. I'm not sure how much, but all I'm saying is there's going to be teams who are going to be hurting on that perimeter and looking for shooting and playmaking. The Knicks already see that that's an issue because they're having to play Derrick Rose off the bench 30-plus minutes. because you can't even play the guys you got starting in front of them. They're playing like less than 10 minutes for the game, and they're your starter, and they're not hurt. So that's all I want to say. I just want to talk about the Knicks and the Hawks. Uh, Particularly, that Cam Reddish thing surprised me because I thought for sure he was healthy, but he's hurt. But I'm telling you, if they win that series and they get to go on to the second round, and if they push to like 5 or 6 games, you're gonna start looking like we don't really need Cam. We good with what we got. The only other difference is if somebody just isn't happy with their role. You know what I'm saying? But it would surprise me if I hear Cam Reddish whisperings, and I promise you, there's some teams out there, an Orlando team, that would be like, oh yeah, we could use a Cam Reddish, or some other teams out there. So that's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Peace.